This is Walt Disney World Today. Give us 5 minutes and we'll give you the world.
It's Monday, October 7th, 2005, and this is episode number 8 for Walt Disney World Today. I'm your host, Matt Hochberg from MGMstudios.org, and here with us for this show is trip planning guru Mike Scopa from MousePlanet.com. Welcome, Mike.
How you doing, Matt?
Pretty good, although I think you're doing a lot better than that. You're sitting in the pool, and where are you exactly?
Oh, actually, I am at Pont Century, also known as Scopa Towers, and I'm right now standing on Generation Gap Bridge overlooking Hourglass Lake.
That's all. I'm quite jealous of you, as I'm sure many of our listeners are right now. And we've also got Len Testa, co-author of the Unofficial Guide to Walt Disney World, as well as the brains behind TouringPlans.com. Where can we find you, Len?
Hi, how's it going, man?
Where are you at right now?
Oh, sorry, I'm at the, just getting ready to pull into the Dolphin parking lot.
All right.
For dinner at Blue Zoo, so the next time you're here will be me going through the gate.
Well, today is our...
There's the ticket machine sound, here we go. Yeah, there we go. Alright.
Well, today's our Call for Help show, and we've got all the questions from you, our listeners, so let's jump right into it. Our first question is from Rich from Youngstown, Ohio, and he has actually a few questions for us. His first question is, I really enjoyed the first 6 episodes of the show. I'm planning a trip to Walt Disney World for the first week in January 2006. I found conflicting reports online about the closure of Pirates of the Caribbean for the Captain Jack Sparrow figure edition and General Ride Rehab. First, do you have any reliable information as to when the Pirates will be shut down for rehab? And second, do you know of any reliable sites that will keep me on top of attraction closures for upcoming trips?
Len, do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first? I will, and the caller name is, or the question comes from Rich?
Yes, Rich.
I'd like to say hi to Rich, and I'd like to point out, too, that I'm actually from Youngstown, Ohio. Go Penguins. Hello, everyone in Youngstown. The best place for ride rehab information, I go to MousePlanet, which is, they're usually a little bit better than Disney's official website in terms of having rehab information. I also like the Disney Travel Agent website, but that's not accessible to the general public. In terms of rehab information or rehab schedules for Pirates, I've not heard of anything definite yet for that, although after the first of the year is a likely candidate for any ride rehab simply because it's smaller crowds during that time of year. But generally Disney's going to announce stuff like that about a month ahead of time. Always check MousePlanet or any of the other online sites.
Mike, I know you probably have been to MousePlanet a few times.
I just want to thank Len for giving us that MousePlanet plug. Mark Goldhaber does a park update, and Mark usually is on top of that. He has sources down here who constantly keep him updated, and I want to echo Len's thoughts on January being an ideal time for rehabs because of low crowds, and that's an ideal time. I've been down here for a couple of days, and the only thing I can say is that the riverboat ride in the Magic Kingdom is down for a few months. Len might know when that's coming back up, but I know it's down at least this month. It may be down until January.
Right, it's spring 2006 now.
Is it?
Yeah, spring 2006. I don't know what the exact cause is. I'm sure we can find it online. But it was only supposed to be maybe 6-8 weeks originally, and now it's an indefinite date for spring of 2006. So.
Exactly. Haven't heard anything regarding Pirates. I haven't heard anything regarding any other attraction. An interesting sidebar is that it seems like they are doing some work in the Carousel of Progress, like putting new carpeting in. So that kind of smacks in the face of all the rumors about Carousel of Progress closing down. So that's kind of interesting.
Yeah,
other than that,
there's been enough maintenance on that, but I don't think they're closing it down either. At least not immediately. I don't think so. I mean, they're painting stuff and keeping it generally up to date. So.
The only other thing I can say I heard today from a cast member is that the Tarzan Rocks show in Matt's favorite park, the Animal Kingdom, is
is not necessarily closing in January, not necessarily closing in March. Now they're saying that it's going to close sometime between January and March. They are not sure, and I also heard that they are going to completely level that structure, that building. They're not going to refurbish it. They're going to level it and then build from the bottom up.
Did you say that they're going to level the whole park?
Whatever they're putting into that show.
Was that? Did you say?
People use explosives with that when they demo it. That'd be fun. With all the animals around.
Yeah, they're going to fold it in somehow, like they did with Horizons, I guess.
Yeah, that's probably what they'll do. You're right.
So thanks, Rich, for that question.
Well, Rich actually has a second question, and actually I have probably the same question. And his second question is, when are annual passes worth it? I guess what he means is, at what point do you come out ahead? How many days per year?
Normally, I think the old rule used to be somewhere between 8 and 10 days, and I would stand pat with that. I would say if you use your annual pass between 8 and 10 days, I'd actually stretch that out to 12. I think you're doing well. But you got to keep in mind that you want to make good use of your annual pass, and by that I mean making use of the discount down in downtown Disney with World of Disney, making good use of purchasing that Disney dining experience card for $50. It'll pay for itself in one trip. There are different ways. They're very hard. It's using the discount on the rooms. There are so many ways of approaching that question. I guess the key is to really understand what kind of discounts are available with the annual pass. Make use of your room discounts. Make use of all kinds of opportunities to saving money, and then you'll be able to find out the answer to that question yourself. Len, can you add to that?
So we usually look at the break-even points for annual passes for the 2006 unofficial guide, and the thing we looked at was whether hotel discounts were available. So it's pretty easy to figure out what the break-even point is. You get it between 8 and 10 days if you're not factoring in a hotel discount. But it typically gives discounts in the range of about $70 a night for deluxe hotels for annual pass holders. So when you factor that in, the break-even point is somewhere between 4 and 5 days if you're staying at a deluxe resort. For moderates, I think the discount typically is around $45 a night, or has been. So you're looking at a break-even point of around 7-ish days. And for the value resorts, I think it's a little bit longer. I think it's like 10.
That might be 10 or 12.
Yeah, so it really depends on the discounts available and how long you intend to spend in the parks. But Mike's point about the dining card is really good because for $50, you get, was it 15% off, Mike?
It's 20% off, Len.
That's right. Yeah, so that's right because the break, if you spend $250 on food in Walt Disney World, that's your break-even point. And $250, I mean, I know I could do that in 2 days. So,
well, I can tell you, I ran into a friend of mine yesterday, and he had a big grin on his. He said, "Well, I've had my first meal using my Disney dining experience card, and it's paid for itself." They happen to have eaten at Victoria and Albert's.
Oh, yeah.
And they saved $48 on their meal.
And so really, the annual pass pays for itself typically not only by lower park admissions, but also by getting those hotel discounts and getting those food discounts. And those are really the things that you want to look for. Because I consider the admission secondary to the hotel discount. Okay, you don't have to for the hotels.
I agree.
Cool.
Well, Ken from Perryville, Maryland, wants to know, what is the latest word on the Wonders of Life? Will it be reopened? Will something else replace it?
Well, I can tell you that the latest edition of the Epcot guide map does not even list Wonders of Life. So, from all intents and purposes, that is probably gone for good. The latest that I had heard was that they were clearing out some of the internal structures of that pavilion, but I believe they left the Body Wars mechanism in there, and I think everything else may have been gutted. But that's hearsay. I don't have any real proof on that.
You knew that Wonders of Life wasn't long for this world when they didn't open it on 4th of July.
That was, and you're right.
And, if they're not going to open it during peak season like that, and they may open it for Christmas, but I've heard it being used in everything from, like, a cast member training area to places to store extra chairs and tables and stuff. I don't think it's going to make anytime soon. Certainly not anything other than Christmas. If it's not open for Christmas, it's never coming back.
I don't think it's going to be open ever again. There's one.
I mean, especially with Wonders with the Living Seas closed. I mean, that's a huge attraction down, and if they're not opening it up for that, it doesn't look good.
Joe.
We settled our last bike at Goofy's Fitness Fair or whatever it was.
Joe also asks what the what backstage tours are worth the money and which are a waste of time.
I'll defer to Mike on this one.
Well, it's the thing is that it depends upon what you want to see, depends upon how curious you are, depends upon if you want that illusion to disappear. They can. It's really tough to list them all. The problem that I have with a lot of them is the time commitment. In some cases, I think there are some that go up to 6 hours. I think one of the behind the tours in I think in the Magic Kingdom, I think it's 6 hours, and I just don't want to commit time to that. The one that I've heard is the best is the one. I don't know what it's called. I think it's called Behind the Magic or something like that. It's in Epcot where the thing that I would be interested in seeing is what they call. I think they call it the wagon. It's the mechanism that is underneath the audience in the American Adventure, and you get to see all that stuff, how it slides up during the course of that show. That's the one that if I was to go on any one, I'd go on that one. But I'm not sure if I'd want to commit the time to doing those tours. Len, you want to add to that?
Yeah, I think I would do nothing more than a 4-hour tour, only because it's a commitment both in time and then in walking too, and people tend to be pretty down in those. You might want to try to start off with something small, like a Segway tour of Epcot or something like that. I really like the behind the scenes tour at the Lands Pavilion.
Yeah, that's cool.
I'm a sucker for hydroponics, so that might be something to start off with. I think it's about $68, something like that. And if you like that, then try for I might want to commit to a longer tour. But I think that enough pavilions have smaller tours. There are enough shorter tours around that you can get a taste for it and see if you're willing to commit more time and more money to it.
Good point. Good point.
Joe wants to know also, what activities does Walt Disney World have for young children outside of the parks themselves?
Oh.
Go
ahead, Len.
Well, I mean, at the resorts, the more elaborate resorts typically have play areas with swings and slides, and pools are typically fairly elaborate at Walt Disney World. There's miniature golf, which is relatively inexpensive. In terms of activities, in terms of what my daughter would like, bike rides are fun. What else? There's fishing. My daughter would hate that. What else?
The water mice is kind of fun, isn't it?
Play Legoland. Go to Legoland down in downtown Disney and play with the Legos there.
Yeah, that's true. There's shopping at a Lego again. Downtown Disney's not bad. So if you put a kid in a toy store there, then it might be maybe spending some money there. I'm trying to think of inexpensive or free things to do.
It's tough.
Yeah, I mean, the resort, it depends on the resort really you're at. And depending on the modern or deluxe resorts, you're definitely going to have either pools or playgrounds or something like that where children play areas where kids can play.
Well, Gene from Wisconsin has an interesting question for you guys. Do any of you have a favorite area in any of the parks that you love to just go to and hang out and sit there? Someplace that you kind of call your own?
Yeah, I've got a couple. I think in the Magic Kingdom, I really like in the across where the not the Emporium, it's the Exposition Hall. There's if you go to the back of the Exposition Hall on the right hand side, there's a small movie theater with like 42 or 45 seats. It shows the same 3 cartoons over and over again: Flowers and Trees, the band concert, and something else. I forget what. But invariably, no one's ever there. You can take your shoes off, put your feet down on the cool carpet, and relax, and take a quick nap. I really like that in the Magic Kingdom. Rarely is there ever anyone ever back there. It's a great place to. I've seen people nurse babies back there. I've seen people sleep. Great place to get out of the sun and away from the crowds, and there's very few quiet moments. Mike, what's your favorite place in the Magic Kingdom?
Oh boy, that's a tough one. It's going to depend upon the time of day. I really like hanging around the Rose Garden after Wishes. I like to sit there and just, look at the castle and watch people unwind and leave the park and let me be there with my castle all by myself. I think it's a very good spot to reflect on what's been going on during the course of the day, and then really start planning your day for the rest of your the next day. And it's just a nice quiet spot. It's usually vacated right after Wishes, and it's just a real calming place. The other place I like, and I think Matt would like this, is I like to be right outside Star Tours late at night in MGM Studios. I like to listen to the I forget what are those guys?
Ewok Village.
The Ewoks. I like to listen to the Ewoks at night.
Great,
I think that's kind of cool. And I can remember back in the early 90s, I used to be able to walk along the base of the Great Movie Ride, and they used to play Somewhere Over the Rainbow, and it used to be really a nice ending to the day. Those are pretty much my favorite spots. Epcot, it can be any time at night around World Showcase Lagoon. Really don't have any favorite spots, although I do like the little area where the British Invasion plays in the United Kingdom. I like to be there at night because nobody's there, and it's a nice place to just relax while the crowd vacates the park. And you notice I didn't say anything about the Animal Kingdom.
Also in Epcot, you've got the Steve Church in Norway, which is always cool, quiet, and usually it's closed now, but it'll be back open. And also let me throw in that the Steve Church is sponsored in part by the Society for the Preservation of Ancient Norwegian Monuments. The membership is open to everyone. I have a funny story about that later. Also, I like the gallery in Japan, which I think last time I was there showing tin toys.
Yes,
it's pretty good. Yeah. And then there's also a small museum in Morocco. If you're facing Morocco, it's on the left-hand side. You get very quiet, usually no one there, air-conditioned, away from the crowd.
The Japanese garden, too.
Yeah, Japanese garden is very nice. Oh, yeah, you can listen to the Deer Chaser. That's a marvel of engineering right there.
It works, man. I haven't seen any deer in Epcot. So.
I saw a couple rabbits today around the hotel, but no deer. Great. Amazing.
Our last question for the show is it comes from Gary, and his question is: my family and I are going to Walt Disney World for the first time during the end of February, and / the beginning of March, and we are staying at Port Orleans. I would like to get a feel of what building would be good, and any other tips about the resort.
Building 5.
I like Building 3, but same idea. Go ahead.
Building 5 at Port Orleans French Quarter, Matt, it's the closest. I believe. Well, Glenn might be right with Building 3. Building 3 is close too, but Building 5, Building 3, it's close to the food court. It's close to the center where the buses are. It's close to the pool. It's close to the spa. It's close to the laundry, and it just happens to be, I think, the best building. Building 5, if you can get it, and I would make the reservation and the request ASAP.
I like the first floor rooms. I mean, if you're looking at the resort head on, Building 5 is the first building on your left, Building 3 is the first building on your right. I like either of those. First floor room, as close to the food court and the bus stop as possible. The reason for that is that if you need to walk out in the middle of the night and get something to eat or a snack, or if you want to go in the morning, it's very convenient. So.
I'd like to add one more thing, Matt, and that is Port Orleans is divided into Port Orleans Riverside and Port Orleans French Quarter. Port Orleans Riverside is made up of huge buildings. I call them plantation buildings, and sometimes it's like walking through a maze to get to your room, and you park where you think is closest to your room, and it's not necessarily close to your room. So I would strongly suggest Port Orleans French Quarter over Port Orleans Riverside.
Yeah, I think that French Quarter is definitely easier to enter. I remember walking through Riverside and trying to find my room in, I think it was Magnolia Bend. And after 20 minutes of walking, I finally realized why Sherman burned Atlanta, because he probably couldn't find his hotel. Oh my God, it just went on, and I kept trying to, follow the outside of the buildings, and then after I found my room, of course, I found a shortcut, but, the maps aren't exactly, the easiest way to find the rooms. You're right, it's frustrating. I do like French Quarter a little bit better. And actually, I think the rooms were recently refurbed. French Quarter, I was there in March. Yeah, it was pretty good.
I was there in July. It's nice. You're right.
Well, that's it for us today. This has been episode 8 of Walt Disney World Today. Be sure to visit the Walt Disney World Today website at www.wdwtoday.com for the show notes, as well as the ability to send us all your comments about this podcast. And please be sure to send us all your questions to questions@wdwtoday.com. As always, you can look for our new shows on Mondays and Fridays of every week. For Len Testa, Mike Scopa, and Mike Newell, I'm Matt Hochberg. We'll see you next show.